Hello, my name is Eric Walczykowski, the CEO of Bespoke Partners and the host of Tailored Talent. This afternoon, I have the opportunity to welcome Alex Bosetta, the head of our talent leaders practice at Bespoke Partners. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks, Eric. Excited to be here.
Well, it's good to be chatting again. I know we talked late last year about human capital or talent leaders. One of the things that I'm most interested in is 2024 is off to a fast start for us. I've heard that talent is a major thesis for 2024. Just wanted to see what you're seeing in your function for 2024.
Yeah, certainly in 2023, I think talent and HR teams were impacted a bit by budget, just with macroeconomic situation and climate. I think broader down market, hits HR teams a bit harder than other functions within software companies. That said, I think coming into 2024, really increased focus in getting the right people within people and talent roles within organizations. So hearing, a lot of popularity in terms of still having CPOs at the executive table, I think that will definitely carry, well into Q2. A lot of what we're seeing is the need for really strong strategic, talent leaders, thinking organizations, 100 million revenue plus, 500 headcount and growing and scaling beyond that. Given the increase in popularity as it relates to having someone within the CPO seat, certainly expect a higher rate of turnover as executives do now have optionality as it relates to, number of opportunities that they are considering at this time. We are seeing a high vacancy rate as it relates to C-level leaders in the CPO or CHRO seat. I think this is partly because, again, the optionality piece, and then also, still continue to build out that muscle at the C-level within this function. But no, I think what we're hearing across the board is need to manage talent during a really challenging, broader climate is critically important for organizations.
No, absolutely. And I'm really glad to hear that you addressed the vacancy rate, because I really do think that is an element to the notion of a strategic people officer growing and growing in today's private equity climate. And when I think about the private equity portfolio companies that I've run, people have always been critical, and you are after the top 1% of talent in this role. Yeah. And so to have that strategic people officer that's looking after the attract, develop, retain, and belong aspects of a firm, it's so critical. With that said, what are you seeing in terms of 2024, just in demand of the type of people leaders that folks are looking for?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you just said. Of, for lack of a better word, the talent expert or talent guru, someone who can really think about attraction and being competitive in the market from a compensation, employer brand, and really just reputation standpoint across the board. On the other side, how do we retain, motivate, and really, engage talent that we do have within the organization? So I think of talent really front and center in terms of experience and skill set that we're seeing, from the demand side. I think another thing that's very top of mind for organizations is, really building culture. I think it's ever challenging in a hybrid remote environment. Organizations are approaching return to office a bit differently. So thinking of the culture and engagement side as this potential return to office movement does happen is certainly top of mind as well. And then I think always hearing from our clients, especially in private equity, people and talent leader who really has solid business acumen, really operational foundation within organizations is ever critical. So really understanding strategies, initiatives that they're implementing. How do we think about driving, bigger impact across the organization and investment thesis? So I think majority of searches we're running, those three things really come up in terms of business acumen, talent focus, and really culture and engagement is the three core skill sets that leaders need.
No, absolutely. And appreciate you sharing that. One of the interesting things that I look at in private equity in general is I think these private equity firms, our clients are holding more portfolio companies than they've held, and exits are really important this year, which I think actually puts extra pressure on the executives in the portfolio companies because the support resources at these private equity firms are spread thinner across more companies. That said, we did talk about the lack of exits in private equity, and we know that the private equity community is very focused this year on exits. How is the lack of exits affecting executive compensation as it relates to people officers' willingness to make a move in this market?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question. I think with candidates, there certainly is some reluctancy to make a move because of market uncertainty. So I think this is in part causing the market to be a bit tight on the candidate side. I think we also saw this during COVID, at the beginning of COVID, when there was some uncertainty, people leaders really wanting to stay and ensure that they're setting the team and organization up for success, when there is market uncertainty more broadly. From a compensation standpoint, I think strategic CPOs have been in high demand and definitely have it at top dollar. I think all around we're seeing the 400 plus range in terms of OTE, and then about a 5x multiple of OTE for equity as really market in terms of people leaders.
No, outstanding. And I think, this is near and dear to our heart as we think about talent and the future of PE. And I think that those leaders are going to continue to be in top demand as more and more portfolio companies place an emphasis on strategic people leaders. And just excited to have you in chair to really help these portfolio companies get the right leader in place. One of the things that I've been meaning to ask you, we play in the world of P&L leaders, go-to-market leaders, finance leaders, product and tech leaders, and then of course people leaders. What distinguishes people leaders from some of the other functions in your opinion?
Yeah, well, I think what I love working with HR and people leaders every day is, we as recruiters are solving some of the same challenges that they are within their organization. So, really helping be that thought partner, be as helpful as we can as it relates to talent acquisition and navigating challenges is really interesting. I like that it's a relatively newer focus within private equity as it relates to a true strategic driver for value creation and really kind of helping to, define what good looks like within private equity more broadly. I think is really interesting about what we do.
No, outstanding, Alex. Well, I'm definitely glad to have you on the case in terms of building out these talent leaders within private equity. I always enjoy our conversations and looking forward to get back in the market to talk to more private equity firms and their portfolio companies about how we can solve their people needs. Have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you, Eric.